So you lift yourself up off the chair and you give yourself a little wiggle. Oh, Jesus. Good afternoon, lads and lassies, the Irish Demon, back with another video. This is a jar. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept of a jar, these are used to hold all manner of wonderful condiments and delicious, decadent, beautiful, delicious stuff from all around the world. Now, this particular one had Hellmann's mayonnaise in it. But I found out on the internet today, you can get these lovely little devices filled with something that isn't sauce. And we'll get to that later. So as I said, this is a jar and you are watching me, unless you're my creepy neighbor. Yeah, I can see you, Dave. You're fooling nobody, man. And unless you're Dave, you are watching me on the internet. Now, what happens when you mix a simple jar and the internet together? Well, you get a woman that sells her farts in a jar for money and seems to be doing quite well out of it. Now, we've all seen really strange things for sale on the internet before. Like, for example, this chicken helmet, because chickens ride motorcycles now, and this cat mask, because, I don't know, animal abuse or something, and this really strange but really satisfying iPad holder / snack bowl. That's actually really cool. Okay, I'm gonna take it back and say that's not a stupid, strange thing to see for sale on the internet. I want one now. I want one immediately. Anyway, let's have a look at this video of this young lady called Stepan Tomato, something like that, selling her farts in a jar. Check this out.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you a day in the life of a girl who sells her farts in a jar. So I like to get things rolling with some beans, a protein muffin, sometimes even a yogurt. Less sugar is better, some hard-boiled eggs, and today I decided I was going to make myself a protein shake with some yogurt added to it, and oh, I was feeling it for sure. While I wait for those farts to develop, I like to read. I'm very smart, love to read. And then after I'm ready to go, I go ahead and, do my work, do my job. I don't need to show you that, guys, but I like to add in little flower petals. I feel like they attach the scent and make it last longer. And when I'm finally finished with my jar, I like to leave a personalized note. I want to thank you so much to the 97 people who have already purchased their jar of farts. And as you know, they're on sale right now, 50% off with $1,000. So go to my Unfiltered and check it.
If I thought that I could get paid for every time I have farted, I would be richer than Elon Musk right now. I could reheat Mars on that money and gas alone. In fact, I could probably power the ship needed to get to Mars purely on that gas. Now, in the video, she said something about using flower petals. Let's just have another look at that, shall we?
I like to add in little flower petals. I feel like they attach the scent and make it last longer.
I'm not trying to be gross when I say this, but all of the flowers in all of the countries, in all of the continents, on all the planets in the universe capable of growing flowers would not be able to hide what comes out of my ass. In fact, I think if I put flower petals in a jar directly after I dropped wind into it, they would probably ignite. I was going to say rot, but they would probably just explode immediately. I was sitting here trying to figure out who in their right mind would buy this jar of ass wind. And then, it didn't take long because you remember, it's the internet and people are really weird on the internet. For example, my mother-in-law asked me what Omegle is, so I decided to show her and gave her all of the relevant warnings. You guys know what I'm talking about here. And yeah, needless to say, a lot of weirdos on the internet buy a lot of very unusual stuff. In fact, she was offered money for certain items. I don't want to get into it because that... But you just gotta ask yourself, at what point did she think that this was a good idea? I seem to picture it like, if you're into recycling or whatever, you get your empty jar of delicious condiment. Well, I guess it can't be an empty jar of something, right? Anyway, we'll get into that. Let me know down below, what do you think? Can it be an empty jar of something? Or could it be a jar that formerly contained something? That is going to haunt me and plague me. I need answers. I need answers down below. Anyway, so she's standing there washing the jar and the thing thinking, You know, it's a shame because jars are handy, you know, they're made of glass, and you're like, oh, I wish I could put this to good use and make some money. Ding. Sell my farts. Obviously that follows, right? So anyway, let's have a look at her recipe over here. She said that she was going to have some protein to get everything moving, some beans, some yogurt with low sugar, and all of that good stuff. I've got my own recipe, and man, do you get value for money when you buy my fart in a jar. So to contrast with her recipe, I'm going to tell you some of mine. Well, we start off our day, lads and lassies, with some coffee. Now, coffee, as you may know, that's good coffee. Besides being delicious, is also very good to get things moving. Oh god, that actually was not meant to happen. So then to continue developing the aroma of this particular product, we move on to the next part of the recipe. So after you've had your morning coffee to get things moving and you start feeling all rumbly, you move on to the next item, which is, of course, tortillas. Now, I recommend the stinkiest, cheesiest flavor that you can find to really develop the true aroma of the product. I don't know if you can hear this through the microphone, but these are extremely stale. But you gotta keep your customers happy. You gotta keep developing the product. Stale but delicious. Now, following that, your mouth may be as dry as Gandhi's sandal. So then we move on to the coffee again. And that just kind of continues to develop, continues to get that mixing going, because that's what you need. You need that mixing. So what I recommend at this point is that you kind of lift yourself off the chair ever so slightly. Now, don't do exercise. I mean, come on. So you lift yourself up off the chair and you give yourself a little wiggle. Just a little wiggle, shaken, not stirred. So you give it a little bit of a... Oh yeah, now we're talking. All right, now we're going to move on to the next part of the recipe. And this is what adds the sweetness with a sour kick, umami, to the recipe. And that, of course, is jelly beans. Now, again, we're keeping this healthy, folks, okay? They're beans, just like what she had, so do I. But these are special beans. These are magic beans. These are sour beans. Now, I don't know if you've ever had sour jelly beans before. Struggling with the packet over here, but I think I need to get something to get this thing open here. I'll just use my pocket knife. Sorry about that. So anyway, you want to get your high protein. High protein? Is there any protein? There is protein in this, I can confirm. So you want to get your high protein jelly beans. You get them going. Now, the sourness adds to that aroma, and you guys know what I'm talking about. You know when you have one, you're sitting there. It might even be a silent one. You don't even expect it. You know when you upset yourself because it's so bad that you're devastated that you were able to create that smell? Well, we're trying to get that because we got to fill this thing. We got to give people what they want, and they got to get their money's worth. And last but not least, lads and lassies, the special ingredient in my most up-to-date version of this recipe. This one is the version that I like to call the Chicago Special. And what better way to season anything from Chicago than with Jepsom's Malort? Now, if this doesn't spice things up, nothing will. People drink that for fun. Chicago, you should be ashamed of yourself over by there. Now, with any special recipe like this, just like a good whiskey, it doesn't come overnight. You gotta leave it brew. You gotta just leave it sit in there. You gotta kind of twist and masticate it a little bit. You know what I'm talking about. You gotta get a bit of fermentation going on there. And if you feel like you're ready to go, wait. Hold it, suck it back up inside, and leave it mellow some more. Now, we're going to prepare our jar because it's almost time to cork this beauty. So you get your jar, you make sure it's really clean. because you want to make sure that the product is sanitary, of course. You're going to want to remove whatever you have in the way. Obviously, I've already done that. Pretty much always the case. And then you put the jar in the position, but before you do that, of course, you've got to add some flower petals to the jar to ensure that it, I don't know, whatever she said, something about holding the scent in. Then you want to position the jar and get ready. Oh, and then you remove the finished product and it is ready for sale. But I might just say, lads and lass, you gotta cork it real quick, because once it's out, now sometimes there will be some fluid, so you gotta be, you know, prepared for that. But that just means that they're getting some extra free good stuff with their purchase. So I don't actually charge extra for this. Some people do. Now, if you really want to make this good, it's kind of like paint. When you buy paint, you gotta shake it up. Now what this does is it really develops the aroma. I mean, really develops the aroma. It could gag a maggot. Now, lads and lassies, let me just say, if you're going to do this at home, do it outside. When you open this, sometimes there can be a light release of gas that can be quite noxious and a little bit upsetting to the nose. But I'm going to do it in here because I'm the only one at home at the moment. So let's see how this turned out. It looks great. Okay, I'm good. Came out perfectly. Well, there we have it, lads and lassies. You can buy that product right now in the description down below for the low price of $2,859 plus shipping and tax and handling. Let me know in the comment section down below, what is the strangest thing that you have ever seen for sale on the interwebs? For me, it's got to be Gwyneth Paltrow's cooter scented candles. Yeah, you gotta check that out. Goop, it's called. I don't know about you, but I don't fancy that smell all over my house from a candle. But hey, to each their own. Anyway, lads and lassies, thank you so much for joining me this fine evening. I hope you're all well. I have got to get myself to the hospital. Take care and sláinte.